Welcome to the Default Profitable Podcast, a show where we dive deep into the real strategies behind starting and building consistently profitable businesses. Whether you're a founder, a leader, or a curious builder just starting to dream, this podcast is a toolkit to make profitability your default setting, not just some lucky outcome that happens occasionally. I'm your host, Matt Nettleton. Today, my guest is Jim Effner. Jim, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
No problem. So, why don't we do this? This is about a 25-minute interview, but why don't we start with, tell us a little bit about yourself before we get into the business.
Sure. Well, professionally, I've been in the financial services and life insurance industry for 36 years. Hopefully I don't look that old, but
You don't.
yeah. I started right out of college in 1989 with a company called Northwestern Mutual. I was a top of the table rep there for 12 full-time years. Had a lot of accomplishments there. And then I became a managing partner, which is you own your own distribution center outside of Chicago in the western suburbs of Chicago. And I owned that for 15 years. And I sold that in July of 15. And then I started this company, P2P Group, in January of 16, only because I was young. I had a lot of energy. I have a lot of passion for this industry. And I wanted something to do every day. I can only play so many rounds of golf a year. And so I started it. It's now 10 years old almost this January. And it's been awesome. We focus on really sales training with a particular emphasis in financial services and life insurance. And our whole job is just to maximize people's productivity.
So you're with Northwest Mutual. You've obviously done well. What was it that caused you to wake up in 2015 and say, yeah, I think I'm going to do my own thing?
Because I had an organization that was about 400 people. And, that no matter which way you size it up or how you look at it, at any one given time, there's always fires to be put out. There's problems. I used to say if it wasn't for people, this business would be really good. But, just being funny. But at the end of the day, when you got 400 people, you've got problems, you've got issues, and in that big of a role, you also are fairly removed from the core essence of what that industry and end use is. So my passion was about financial planning. My passion was about impacting people. My passion was about being in the grassroots. And being the CEO, I was too far removed from it and dealing with things like compliance and home office complexities and financial arrangements and lease arrangements with the 5 buildings that I had and doing things that I didn't enjoy. And so I wanted to put an end to that and figure out a way that I could be more at the grassroots of doing only what I'm really, really, really good at. Only what I'm really, really, really passionate about and something that really mattered. And now I've got 3.5 people on my team. I only take projects that I am excited about, that I love doing, that are in my wheelhouse with people I like working with. I no longer need the money. I'm not a non-for-profit. I still cash my checks, but I'm really happy. I'm really fulfilled. It was a great move.
So you have this big organization, 400 people. You got 5 buildings you're managing. You got all kinds of complexity. You get to deal with the Puzzle Palace up in Wisconsin. And you've got to figure out, okay, I'm going to go do my own thing. I got 3 people. What are some of the things that you had to learn that you were surprised by when you went from big, complex organization to a relatively small one?
It's a great question. I would say at the very top of the list, I had to learn to be able to communicate effectively to our clients. The value of what we do is P2P and the entity and the processes and the systems, that it wasn't Jim Effner. And I first got started, I marketed, I sold, I positioned Jim Effner. And then it's all about me. And there's no value that's bigger, that's based on a process and a system and a company and a purpose and a mission and a value that is our team and our company. And so I had to learn how to say we and us, and I need to learn how to say P2P and not me, and not be the head of everything, the be all end all, where it was just me. That might sound trivial, but that's played out pretty significantly.
Well, the funny thing is most people when they start a business, they're not going from the complexity you had where the me was obvious and just unspoken,
Yeah.
right? They're a lot of times they're not at the top of the food chain. They kind of come in and all of a sudden they are at the top of the food chain.
Yeah.
But the reality is whether you're coming from a bigger organization or you're a cog in a smaller organization, understanding how to build a team and you've
Mhm.
packed a lot in there, right? So you packed a lot, you got to understand your value proposition, why people would pay you. You got to be able to provide systems that are repeatable. You got to be able to get other people on board and recruited into your vision and mission. I mean, it sounds like that was a big adjustment for you.
Yeah, that was a big adjustment. And the other thing too is that you're a sales guy, so you'll relate to this, is that there are a lot of people who, I'm sure this is in every industry. I only know like the back of my hand very well and deep the financial services and life insurance industry. But in this industry, there are many, 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 many people who have come before me who have called on, general agents, home office executives, and claim to be the newest, greatest, whatever it is they're selling, right? And they come and go and they're a dime a dozen. And these people have to vet them out. These people have to realize that that they don't all come to fruition. And so I had to learn that what is truly different about us and how do I effectively communicate it, that I'm not just one of many that have called on a local managing partner or a home office executive saying, hey, I could teach your sales reps how to be more effective, because they've had 10 or 12 or 15 or 20 other people pitch them on that same thing, right? It's like flavor of the month. But I knew we were different. I knew we were different. I knew we had a track record, but I had to learn how to effectively communicate that in a way through our processes, our systems, our strategy, our mindset, uh, before I had data to back it up. So now we're 10 years. I have a ton of data now that speaks for itself, but I had to be able to come in and say, we're different. I'm not just the flavor of the month like everybody else that has called you. And they're like, yeah, right. That's what everybody says. And I had to prove it. And I had to figure out how to effectively communicate that.
Yeah. That is a huge challenge.
Yeah.
So, all right. So, listening to you talk, you're 10 years in. You obviously have done well, but it sounds like you still have that passion.
Oh, big time. I have the passion. That's why I get out of bed every day. I'm extraordinarily passionate. Uh, I would say that I am fighting for a cause.
And
And
what's that
the,
cause?
that cause is my belief in the benefit of permanent life insurance in a family and a household that has strong family values and is full of love. It makes the family financial serenity and security much better. And the majority of Americans don't understand that. And it has a negative perception. People don't understand it. And it has had an amazing impact on my life personally. And it's also had a huge impact on my family. And I want to give back to that industry, which right now, personally, I see being very threatened. And I want to fight for it. And it's something I'm willing to fight for.
So, when you say threatened, give me some idea. Why do you say threatened?
Well, if you go back when I started, Matt, you look at the late 80s and even into all the 90s, a life insurance agent was a life insurance agent. And now with the Glass-Steagall Act and all these mergers and acquisitions, the financial services world is one big world. And so nobody sells life insurance anymore solely. They're financial advisors, financial planners, wealth management advisors, and they do everything. They sell life insurance, disability insurance, but they also manage portfolios. And so what's happened in there are agents who back in the day used to be top of the table, 7-figure earners exclusively selling life insurance that now manage two, three, four, $500 million, and they don't sell any life insurance anymore. They've gotten away from it. And there's too much sex appeal to manage money, and selling life insurance is too full of rejection and difficult. And so human beings take the path of least resistance. They want to be liked. And so now they chase assets and manage portfolios, and they only talk about life insurance when it falls in their lap. And so life insurance companies are on nine consecutive years in productivity per rep declining.
And what's the age of the average rep also?
54. It's not
Yeah,
good.
not good.
Yeah, it's not good at all.
So one of the questions I typically ask is, what do you wish you knew when you started? If you go back to 1989, and I also graduated from college in 1989, so we're of a similar age.
Yeah.
If
Sorry.
you think back to your to your getting started at Northwest Mutual, what do you wish somebody had told you in a way that you would believe it?
Oh, I get that question a lot. That's such a deep question. There's quite a few things, but what's at the top of the list? I would say two. Um, Number one, really how important my why is, how clear that is for me today. And when I was 22, I was clueless. And the clarity of that is incredibly empowering. And it'll persevere through any difficult challenges along the way. When you're guided by why you get out of bed every day, you have a deep, profound purpose and you're clear on it. It's so powering. I didn't have that when I was 22. I'd say I put that at the top of the list. Um, if I said I had two, the second one I'd probably say is chill out. Life's a marathon. It's not a sprint. Stuff happens, but it's not the end of the world. And to process challenges along the way, more patience.
Yeah. Okay. Now, here's the question that I'm going to ask that you might be even more qualified to answer. If somebody is becoming an insurance agent slash financial planner today, what advice, what's the one thing they need to think about to be successful?
First of all, they got to be really clear on whether or not they genuinely care about every single client at a deep level, because you can't fake that. It's either there and it's authentic or it's not. That you cannot be a financial planner because there's opportunity to make a lot of money and you just got to go through the motions. You got to have a deep sense of responsibility and care that when you work with each one of your clients, that you want to make a difference in their life. And the value of what it is that you're going to walk into is a tremendous gift, and at the same time, a tremendous responsibility. And the differentiator in the world that we live in today is not your knowledge. It's not your company. It's not your products. And it's not the sophistication of technology. It's the sense of responsibility and depth of how much you care, one client at a time, and that you're going to lead them, and you're going to know when to high five them. You're going to know when to kick them in the ass. You're going to tell them things they don't want to hear sometimes, but it's because you care. And that's, unfortunately, in the world we live in, I wish I wouldn't have to say this. That's unique. And when you have that, you're special, and carry that torch.
Yeah. And it's, well, reading through some information about you, one of the things that you talk about is your belief system on what is normal is far more important than your technique stuff.
No question.
And I couldn't agree with that anymore. Do you want to expand on that? Do you want to just kind of give me a minute on that?
Yeah, I mean, for example, I could talk a lot on beliefs. We don't have enough time for me really to address the breadth of that topic, but let's say, for example, if I'm working with an individual, how much I know about asset allocation, tax harvesting, optimization of a portfolio, rebalancing, insurance, tax laws, capital gains, income, blah, 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 all that stuff, right? The most important thing I need to know when I'm working with a client is, what does money mean to them and how does it impact them in the decisions they make? And so one of the beliefs I want to hear from them is, I want to be able to learn that in a way that they can't give me a superficial answer. So if I said to somebody, because I'm a financial planner, what does money mean to you? They're going to give me answers like security, peace of mind, comfort. Well, of course, those are topical answers. But if you say, because I'm in the financial planning business, it's really, really imperative that I understand what money means to you. So my very first question to you is, I want you to go back to your earliest childhood memory, and I want you to tell me what you learned about money from observing your mom and dad. You can't give me a surface answer. And, all of us learn a lot about money at 4 and 5 and 6 and 7 years old, most of which is not even conscious. And it still trickles out in behaviors today. That is not logical. Planning is not logical, and it's an emotional journey. And, the other thing I believe that's really important, as opposed to all that gobbledygook knowledge, it's important, but everybody's got that. If I'm working with a husband and wife, I need to know how they communicate around money, how they make decisions, where are they in alignment, where do they fight? What that dynamic is important for a financial advisor to understand. Um, so those are just a couple examples of where beliefs are really important. The biggest belief of which I probably said is that overall financial planning is very, very, very little of a logical business, and it's a deeply emotional business.
Yes.
Most financial advisors don't behave that way.
Yeah. Well, and I would argue actually that pretty much every purchase that we make is a story that we tell ourselves emotionally and then go back and justify logically.
Yeah, I like that.
So that's why none of us drove Yugos to work today. Cheapest car in America, not by a little, by a lot.
Yeah.
So, all right. So here's where I'm going to kind of wrap up. If somebody is going out tomorrow morning, like they're listening to this the day before they open their business. You've opened a business, you've run a business, you've watched people who essentially financial planners open a business every day they show up. But
Yeah.
what's the first thing a brand new business owner should do on the first day?
Focus on what their DNA is going to be and learn how to articulate it in a clear, concise, and compelling manner. And when I say DNA, I'm not talking about the molecular DNA. I'm talking about what is different, new, and attractive about their business, and really focus on that. And then learn how to articulate that, like I said, in the 3 C's in a clear, you know, uh, way. That'd be
Yeah.
what I.
All right. Any other tips that you would give somebody who's a new or aspiring business owner?
I think we look at all the stats in America about how many small businesses fail, and it's a huge number. And then you look at maybe the common denominator of those businesses that make it and that are successful. I'm sure there are a lot of other successful business owners like me that would disagree with me. But from my perspective, at least how I can describe why I made it, wasn't because I'm the smartest one on the block. It was because I had a relentless desire to succeed, that failure was just simply not an option. And my will and my focus, with failure not being an option, was stronger than all the pitfalls that got in the way and allowed me to overcome them and outlast them. And so get connected to that relentless desire that's the opposite or antithesis of, oh, it would be nice. It would be cool if we do this. No, we're doing this. You could cut off my legs. You could cut off my arms. I am doing it, and nothing is going to stop me.
That level of commitment to an outcome cannot be faked.
You got it. Yeah.
Well, thanks for joining us as a guest on Default Profitable. If you want to learn more about Jim, his business, any of the things he does, you can find it in show notes at defaultprofitable.com. Jim, thanks for being a guest.
Thanks for having me.
And for anybody that is listening, 3 ways you can help us. Hit subscribe, leave a review, or share an episode. We'll be back next week. Until then, stay focused, keep working, stay profitable.